Hi Form 5. So here's a quick video for you to revise reading scales. So whenever you're faced with a scale with unmarked intervals, that means the little lines with no numbers next to them, you need to follow some simple steps to be able to work out what each interval, that means each section, means. Now this scale is showing us grams, but it could be showing us milliliters, litres, kilograms. It can be any unit of measure. Once you know the steps, you can apply it to any of those. So the first thing we need to do is look at the first two marked lines, or the marked intervals. So here we have 0 and here 100. And we need to work out what that jump is. So what is the jump or the difference between 0 and 100? In other words, you'll need to do the biggest one, take the smallest one. Now we shouldn't need to work that out in that way, so I'll get rid of that. 100 take away nothing is 100. Okay, then we look at how many intervals there are between those two numbers. So between 0 and 100, how many intervals are there? We can see there's 1, 2. So there are 2 intervals between 0 and 100. So we need to do 100 divided by 2, which is 50, which tells us that each interval here is worth 50 grams. Okay, because from 0 to the first line is 50, and then from 50 to 100 is another 50. And now we can kind of label all the unmarked lines if we want to. So this would be 150 grams, this would be 250 grams, 350 grams, 450 grams. Okay. Then we have to look at what the question's asking us to do. We need to say what the arrow is pointing to. And because we followed those steps, we know it. It's 250 grams. So, just to recap the steps. We first look at the first two marked intervals that we know, 0, 100. We work out what is the difference. It was 100. Then we say how many intervals are between those two marked lines, which was 2. Then 100 divided by the number of intervals equals 50. So each interval is worth 50 grams here. And the arrow we knew because we could label each of those unmarked lines. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. So we knew the answer was 250 grams.